We have a shocking Boston Bruins and Team USA injury update from Charlie McAvoy, who was admitted to hospital during last night's game against Sweden. We're going to be talking about that, and we now have an update as to what this is. We're going to be talking about the long-term implications for the Boston Bruins and Team USA in this Four Nations Faceoff here in this video. Before we get into it, though, we know that 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Boston Bruins news, as well as the Four Nations Faceoff news while it goes on, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join me here on the channel. We are covering everything Boston Bruins. But without further ado, though, let's get into our main and big topic here of the video, which is, of course, Charlie McAvoy. Now, an article from Jim McBride of the Boston Globe came out last night detailing this. Charlie McAvoy was admitted to Massachusetts General Hospital Monday night as Team USA was battling Team Sweden in the Four Nations Faceoff at TD Garden. Two sources familiar with the situation confirmed. Now, during this last night, very, very late last night, I actually just made a video about this a little while ago, and now we have an update on it. So kind of scrap that one, put this one out here. But a lot of concern was caused for this last night, knowing that the injury during, Team Canada game is what we're thinking, or at least, or what it would have been. Going to the hospital during the game against Sweden, not being there, a lot of things raised some concerns for that, especially when, you have your team doctors and everything, and something that was about out of their, I don't want to say pay grade, but out of that kind of realm of possibility. Something caused a bit of concern, We were looking at what it could have been, where Charlie McAvoy's had some previous injuries that would have resulted in the hospital. The shoulder has been a big concern for Charlie McAvoy over the past few seasons, and that was really immediate speculation as to what would happen, where it was, and, Mike Sullivan even coming out and saying that he was dealing with upper body injury after that game, the game against Sweden, that is, really came out and caused a lot of concern, especially when it went from hospital to upper body injury to all of these things kind of coming down at the same time. That was a big concerning part. But now, just moments ago, the update from Frank Cervalli had this to say. Sources say Team USA defenseman Charlie McAvoy was admitted to hospital on Monday night with an infection that stemmed from a minor injury. He is fine. There is no long-term concern. McAvoy's status for Thursday's final is undetermined. He has not been ruled out. And this is a very big sigh of relief when it does come down to this injury, yet an infection still is not great. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but concerning, what could have been, I guess, from, another shoulder injury in Charlie McAvoy's career, something that he certainly did not need and does not want. That is a big sigh of relief. But still, the infection could cause a few things here. When we're coming down to it, I'm no doctor, but obviously could be feeling sick, could be doing multiple things where it just, the body's not feeling well. And coming down to it, we've seen the injury bug and the illness bug, I guess, go around the Four Nations Faceoff throughout this entire tournament. Cale Makar on Team Canada, the entirety of Team Sweden's goaltending, as Samuel Ersson was in net last night against the U.S. There was a few injuries that, are stemming from this whole tournament. Team USA is not falling far from the tree from that. Austin Matthews, the both Kachuk brothers. There's a lot of injuries that are going down, but luckily what we're seeing right now, Charlie McAvoy, not a major injury. And from what we're seeing and from what it's looking like, none of these other injuries in the Four Nations Faceoff are either. But another kind of sliver of hope here from Ty Anderson is the good news. Since I've been tossed about McAvoy's injury, to my understanding, is not previous surgically related shoulder, which is a good thing. Obviously, that could even be worse, an infection to a previous shoulder injury, shoulder surgery. Now, that surgery was years ago, so that would be very unlikely, but you never know. Once again, things can kind of get a bit funky when it comes down to all these, injury, illness, surgical type things. Luckily, we're not crossing paths with that. But a lot of concern was kind of coming from this, as, McAvoy has had history with the shoulder from surgery from 2022 and left the shoulder with the left shoulder arthroscopic stabilization procedure. It's unclear if the latest injury is related, was what all from this earlier Boston Globe thing, but we now know that it is not. And once again, kind of going further with this, we know that the injuries have been pretty prominent in 2022, 2023, missing, about 2 months total in that, and then the early injury this week to the wrist, which is another thing that you never know could stem from. I don't believe Charlie McAvoy had a procedure on that wrist. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe he did, especially with, the time he was out was certainly, a big chunk of the Bruins' timeline, especially the way they've been playing. But I believe that that injury was nothing to do with that. But you never really know on that. As I mentioned, the medical side of things, out of my pay grade. But good thing that he is back. Now, does this have any long-term implications for the Boston Bruins? It certainly could. Infections are nothing to really toy around with, especially when it comes down to being on the ice. Potential cut could come at any point, injuries and procedures and stuff like that. It should be fine, and of course, Charlie McAvoy was a dog. We know that, especially as Boston Bruins fans, where we were seeing this, saying how good he was playing in the Four Nations Faceoff. Then coming out of this, we want to continue the same way, and if there was an injury, anything related to that, that would have been a big hit to the Boston Bruins coming out of this, but it should be fine. I think at the end of the day, we should be good. Whether or not he plays the final is still up in the air. I think that McAvoy will absolutely want to play in that, and especially against Team Canada, where, as a Canadian fan, as you see the jersey, right there, I want to see the best on best. Even if it's, against Canada, I still want to see the best on best in this tournament. We've been waiting years for this, and there's no way in my mind that Charlie McAvoy wants to sit this out and wants to, take a day off or take one of the biggest games of his career off, due to a little infection. Now, I say little infection. We still don't know what it is. Maybe having more updates later today, and I will bring you any updates we get about Charlie McAvoy once again later today or tomorrow or whatever it may be. But when we're looking at it, things are looking fine. And we saw a quote from Mike Sullivan as well at the end of that game, really kind of going over the injuries, as Charlie's obviously is now out with an upper body injury. Austin Matthews, who also didn't play, was more banged up or nicked up, and I should say we'll probably have more information Tuesday with those guys. So more Matthews updates will come out likely today, but obviously Bruins channel, Charlie McAvoy is the main focus here. But good to see that the upper body injury solely an infection, and ultimately should be good. Now, that's what we're seeing right now, and of course, I will pull this up once again. That is not the previously surgically repaired shoulder, and also heading to this one, it only was an infection stemming from a minor injury. So whether or not that was from Team USA, whether that is from the Boston Bruins at the end of the first half of the regular season, I should say, we still don't know. But he is fine, and no long-term concern is what Frank Cervelli is saying. So obviously, that is the big thing. We want to see everybody healthy, and especially in what was considered to be the All-Star break for the NHL. So let me know what you think about these injuries. Obviously, Charlie McAvoy here is the big one for us looking at this. And do you think this is going to have any concern for the Boston Bruins going forward? And obviously, when he gets back to team doctors, and some of which are already on this Team USA roster, it will be a bigger thing to kind of look at and evaluate when we get back. Obviously still in Boston, but when we get back to our regularly scheduled program, and hopefully we do see McAvoy obviously not miss any time, and hopefully he's back Thursday night to see, because he's putting up some work against that Team Canada team. I gotta say, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby shutting those guys down, but ultimately this was a big point of concern, I guess, if you could say, for Team USA and the Boston Bruins when it did come down to it. But ultimately, things seem good. So let me know what you think about this injury below. Do you think there's any point of concern for the Boston Bruins going forward, or is this going to be the end of it? But let me know what you think. If you guys did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. Remember, I have all your Boston Bruins and Four Nations Faceoff while it is underway news right here. So if you're looking for that, be sure to hit the sub button. But I do appreciate you guys for making it to this point in the video. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.